to be the Future Masters Conference, and was open to people at the executive coordinator rank and above, has now been expanded. It's called the Future Leaders, and it is open to coordinators and above. And that happens the day before the global conference. So you would go to Cleveland, I think, on Tuesday, because Wednesday morning is when your program would start. And if you are a coordinator or above, or if you have any coordinators and above in your organization, I would highly encourage you to think about that. Get the information and start making plans, and get to that event.
Good morning. Can you hear me, Joe?
Good morning, Lisa. I can. You sound great.
I will have to just chime in there. I've been to several of those events, and they have been my favorite. I mean, I just learned so much, and the information goes just deep enough that someone who's at the coordinator or the executive coordinator level, you're ready for those types of conversations. You know what I mean? So I think it's a very powerful thing to get to. I highly recommend it. So.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's focused on a group of people. It's not real generic, like you said. It goes just deep enough to give people some good information, stir some thinking that maybe you haven't had before.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. I was looking at the lineup of speakers that we got to kind of peek at too, and boy, it's just going to be powerful. Great learning.
Yeah, Suzanne Fleming says Future Masters training is very beneficial. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and it's a much, I love the global conference, and as much as there is, the magic of that event, you're one of thousands of people, whereas something like the Future Leaders, it's much more intimate, it's much more personalized, and those kinds of events have great value also.
Yeah, you can just really, get in there and get your brain working and focused, and then you're all ready for conference, right?
Yeah, I like that, get your brain working. That's a good thing to have.
Yeah. It's always helpful, right?
Oh, yes.
And I am excited for today's webinar. Oh, my goodness. I know that Jen and Katie are just going to do fantastic. Yeah,
and I think it's going to be a great webinar to have archived, because then when we have people working towards executive coordinator, they can get to this webinar,
absolutely,
hear about what these young ladies have done, and they have great stories. I love them.
Yeah. They have done really extraordinary things, and it's a big deal. Executive coordinator is a big deal, and so there's so much that they can teach everyone, I think, because of that experience. So.
Well, and I think Barb had mentioned, maybe that, I don't know if that was last week or not, but executive coordinator is really what we all consider, I think, the entry point to the higher ranks in Shaklee. And and the thing is, if you can get to executive coordinator and you've done that yourself, then all it is a matter of building 3 executive coordinators in your downline, and then you're a master coordinator.
Yeah. I remember I hit executive, and then I hit senior executive, and it wasn't too long after that I was at a meeting and I saw Gary Burke, and I think I was being introduced to him, and he asked what rank I was, and I said, I'm a senior executive. He goes, oh, you know what you're doing then. And I loved it. I was like, thank you. I wish I could frame that, but it felt good. But I know what he was saying. You cannot become executive on accident, right? You do.
No, it's not luck.
It's not luck. That is right. The luck factor goes away by that rank for sure.
Yeah, and you didn't wake up one morning and just say, oh, boy, now I'm an executive coordinator.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, I love the phrase that Carlos Blanco used Monday night when he did the opportunity presentation. He talked about a pattern of duplication. And if I think if people grasp that concept, Shaklee would be so much easier for them. So it's like we become a user of the product, and then we want to have that pattern of duplication by finding other people that will become users of the product, and then we build a director, and it's just it is just following a pattern of duplication.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Barbara.
I was so I was so rushed this morning that I opened the webinar 4 times, so I had 4 sets of you come and unclick them without deleting myself. Oh my goodness. And how many more sessions do we have, Joe, before the end of the
I think just one more, right?
We have Monday night, the power of our profession
that's going to be a very good one, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, that is Becky Choate is going to be talking about life after kids.
Yes.
And people whose children now are off to college and off to jobs and next chapters of their lives. We're kind of where you are, Lisa, I guess. You're pretty close to that too, right? Is that
I know that feeling, yeah.
Opens up a lot of space for people, especially moms, whether they were working moms or not, and kind of a nice time to think about what they'd like to create for themselves. So that's going to be a very nice session.
And I think we have a special action plan for people at the end of today's webinar for Monday night, right?
For inviting to that, yes.
Yeah.
That's right. So it'd be very good. And this week was Earth Day on Wednesday, April 22nd. Really a commemoration that should be owned by Shaklee, because of our history for 60 years of really supporting and standing for the environment and trying to walk the talk. And I came across this cool slide that said best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. And then, does that scroll up? Why does it not show on my screen? And the second, you clicked. And the second best time, I put it in animation. What do you know? And the second best time is now. And so every year we make an effort to plant trees. Sometimes we do projects where we do kind of reforestation in areas, and it's just a wonderful thing to do and look back, from 20 years ago and 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and see these wonderful trees. So that's a wonderful legacy to leave for people.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And should we just move into...
yes, let's talk about the global conference and these great speakers we have coming.
This Dan Buettner, I think is how I say. I think he's from Minneapolis, and is a National Geographic explorer and New York Times bestselling author of The Blue Zones. He is going to be dynamite to hear live and in person. Mm-hmm. And he's written that book, The Blue Zone Solution, Eating and Living Like the World's Healthiest People. And that's where they've discovered, I don't know how many, was it like 6 or 7 pockets around the world of people who live to be into their hundreds, and they live very healthy, very energetic, productive lives, and they've studied them, and it's amazing how close some of what they do correlates to what our Shaklee philosophy.
What we teach, what we live. And I think on the next slide there was some more information about him. By the way, this is all from the Shaklee website.
Yes, he's from Albert Lee.
Look at that. That his Blue Zone principles.
They did. Yes, they did this. Yes,
right. Remember? Okay, so he did the first experiment in Albert Lee, Minnesota.
Right.
And then took it to 20 other cities across the United States, applying these principles. And in fact, do you remember Steve telling us that Finland did something similar to that maybe, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe now. And they totally turned around their incidence of heart disease and cancer and so on. It was very interesting. And so he is doing that here. And it says he's impacted over 5 million Americans have had improved health as a result of this work he's been doing.
That's incredible. 5 million.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He's gonna be wonderful. I'm just thrilled that we have. I mean, Cleveland's going to be very special.
Yeah, we couldn't be more fortunate, I don't think. And this whole thing on aging just really intrigues me, in part because I have two elderly aunts. One just turned 98 and one is 94.
Oh my goodness.
They live independently, they dress nattily, they love to go out for lunch or dinner, and so it's
Are
intriguing.
they Minnesota people too?
Yes. Minnesota and Wisconsin.
I'm seeing a theme. Very good. And then we have this adorable Sean. Have you seen that Bluetooth,
TED Talk?
YouTube. Oh, the TED Talk. It's TED Talk on YouTube is what I was trying to say, and it came out Bluetooth. Oh my God. Anyway, he is darling.
Yes.
He is a riot. Darling, and he is a riot. But I really think what he says has tremendous merit and really applies again to the work that we do. Life is already heavy enough.
Yeah.
When you want to bring a business into your life, a home business, that you get to structure and you get to frame that how you want it to be, and when you go to bed at night, you visualize the people that you want to work with, and the customers you want to work with, and the conversations you want to have. That's all about building health and all about maybe making things a little better for a child who parents are scared, and sometimes they get into that medical mishmash and they get afraid to trust that. In fact, it was very interesting. On Monday night, we interviewed these two wonderful women who had very serious autoimmune conditions. Linda Dietz had lupus, and Beverly Willingham, who had scleroderma. And one of the things they said that they remembered from Brenda McCummins, who had multiple sclerosis, is that the only thing that they ever worry about is that people won't believe them, that they won't trust that we have this amazing body that, given a chance, really works hard at getting well. And I thought that was so lovely.
Yeah. Well, wellness I think is the natural condition for the body, and so it wants to, maintain that.
Yeah, and if we ever gave it like the natural things that nature intended for the body to be eating, but I think what Sean Achor is going to bring is there's this other piece to it. I've known people who are pretty healthy, they exercise and they eat right, but they're not pleasant, and not.
You're so generous.
Not too many, but they're all about being right, and they're all about putting other people down, and they're all, there's an edge to them. They're not happy people, and I don't need to bring that kind of energy into my world. No, and we don't have to in Shaklee. And it's just that the freedom to be with these wonderful people that we get to be with. I was thinking about that because we have the last regional now for the spring will be in Chicago this weekend, which will be really special. Lisa's coming in for it. It's our special guest, Ashley McDonald, that we had as a guest here a couple weeks ago. Katie is going to be, by the way, if we unmuted Katie as I'm going.
I did. Just now,
good. Good morning, Katie. Oh, she's probably muted.
Morning.
There she is.
Morning.
Okay. Katie's going to be speaking too, and I will be, and Joe's husband is going to be speaking. Mike, it's going to be really a special thing. But what I realized I was preparing for it is that we have such a wonderful, every day is such a wonderful day, and our work is so joyful because we, in part, get to choose the people that we work with and our colleagues that we work with. So there it is, Joe. Cleveland.
Yes, if you're not registered, you want to get registered. The global conference, I was telling Barb, I shared with our group a week or so ago. To me, it's not. It isn't. You don't even say to yourself, "Should I go?" It's just like, for us going to church every week. I don't get up and say, "Well, I wonder if I should go today." Gee, I don't know. It's gonna. I got to drive to church. I got to get dressed. I got to put my makeup on. I got to take care of all this. I do it. I just do it. It's part of my routine. And I think going to Cleveland, if we're in Shaklee, that should be part of what we do. We don't say, can I do it? Should I do it? Oh, gee, I'd have to take care of this. I got to blah, 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 blah.
The value is so high.
Yeah.
The value and the potential for growth and what it can do for a person is it's really like passing up on a tremendous opportunity to do great things. So if your intent is to grow, this is what I tell people, if your intent is to grow, you've got to get there.
Yeah.
Because that's what you can do. So.
And the other piece of it is just that our life is comprised of experiences and and memories, and Cleveland's going to be very special. This is going to be an unusual global conference that we are going to be talking about the way we have been about Shaklee's 25th anniversary celebration and their 50th. I mean, there are just a few that just stand out, and this is going to be one of those. So really important. So the most important thing to understand is invest in yourself and then make a plan. There's always a way to get there.
Yeah, and Barbara, I'm glad you said that, because I was just going to say too, is if you thought, gee, I'd love to go, but then talk to your upline, go upline, or talk to a Shaklee friend, and figure out a way to make it happen, because it can. You just might need a
little creative, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No problem solving, no creative.
Exactly. So on that note, let's get started, Lisa. Oh, did we unmute Jen, by the way?
Yes.
Did she say hello?
Hello.
There she is. Jen.
Good morning, Jen.
Good morning.
I'm excited that you're with us today. It's going to be wonderful.
I'm excited to be here.
Great. Well, welcome, everyone. We're so happy to have session 14 of our Legacy and Leadership Spring 2015 training series. And today's topic is a really good one. It's the road to executive coordinator, and our own Katie Odom and Jen Chavez, who I love them both dearly, are going to share their stories. And I just know that we're all going to benefit so much. So it's going to be an awesome day, and we're very excited. So, do you want me to go back to objectives?
See how excited we are?
So excited we can't even still. So basically, as our spring semester draws to a close, we're really going to focus on these two stories, talk about these ladies who have done extraordinary things in really just a couple of years. I think Jen was, 4 years. Katie has reached executive coordinator 2.5 years. And they really have a great example for us to learn from. We're going to talk about the activities that they found, the systems and the processes that they follow. They're both just tremendous women with great stories. So we're going to learn a lot. All right. Jen.
So let's start with Jen. And Jen, welcome. And you just became an executive coordinator in the last couple of months. And so would you share your story with our folks? And then we're going to delve into some of the things that you learned on your way to executive coordinator.
Absolutely. So I got started in Shaklee 4 years ago, May of 2011. And I'd actually grown up around the Shaklee products. My mother was a distributor for a few years when I was young. And so I actually did not consume all of those products. I hit a lot of them very successfully and didn't fully appreciate Shaklee at the time. And then I went to college, and then I got a job. And my first job was at a call center. So if anyone's ever worked at one of those, you know it's awful. And I quickly realized that even if I got a job not at a call center, I don't think I would like that either. So I started looking for more opportunities, and I made a list for myself. And that list included, I wanted to genuinely help people. I didn't feel in the corporate environment that I was in that I was helping people all the time. I wanted to have time freedom. I wanted to work significantly less than I was working at the time and get paid more. I didn't want a boss. I wanted to start my own company without startup costs. I didn't want to have pay time off or deal with those numbers anymore. And the list went on, and it was pretty detailed, and a lot of people laughed at me. And so I just started looking, and I kept getting invited to other events for another company, and I would just go hang out at those because they had wine and snacks, and I was living in my parents' basement, so it was something to do with my friends. And the whole time I kept thinking of Shaklee, and so as I kept coming back to that, I decided it's probably time that I look at that, and it's probably time that I start taking a vitamin because I haven't done anything positive for my body in the recent years. So I called up my neighbor Pansy, who's like my grandmother and helped raise me, and I said, I think I'm ready to do this. And that was 4 years ago when I got started, and I was working as a new student success advisor at the time, so I was working in online education and teaching people how to use computers and things like that. And then in June of 2013, I quit my job and went full-time with Shaklee, and it's just been an awesome ride. I love it. And finally, in January, I became an executive coordinator, and I'm so excited to be on this call because actually when we were just in Mexico, Barb, Katie, and I, and Lisa, and there's some other people with us walking on the beach, but Katie and I had a long talk about executive coordinator, so it's really cool.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And congratulations, Jen.
Mm-hmm.
You know something? I want to say something about that. I love that you said. I love that you said that. You know what? Because what you just said was very powerful. Is that one of the most important reasons to come to regionals and to come to global conference and to qualify for trips is they're all wonderful and you're going to have fun. You're going to learn stuff, but it's the connections and the networking that you will make with other business leaders who are in your similar situations, and you will work together, you will share ideas, you will hold hands and get there together. That is how in 1998 there were 24 teams that became master coordinators that year when there hadn't been more than 1 or 2 master coordinators a year for the gazillion
years.
Yeah, 8 years before that. And so what you're doing, what you just share when you and Katie and Jen and Lisa, when you talk together and you kind of make a pact together and you figure out how you're going to do it together, that is very powerful. I love that you did that. Now, back to you, Jen.
So this is a look at my group now. And so we have, my first director was Chris Granavage, and she is my best friend's mother, and she's actually been in Shaklee, around Shaklee longer than I've been alive. So, but when I decided to come on, she decided that it was time that she made a change in her life too, and so she got signed up after I did and became a director, and I've known her my whole life, so that's kind of how we came together. And then Ashley McDonald, you guys all had her on the call a couple weeks ago. She's a rock star, and she, actually a close friend I grew up with, known since first grade. They were best friends in college, and so I had an event at my house, and my friend brought Ashley, who I hadn't yet met, and we made the connection, and about 6 months later, she got started in the business, and she's starting to build an awesome team. And then most recently, my newest director since December is Tasmin, and we actually met on a girls' trip through mutual friends. We were both staying at the same place, and we kept in touch and would see each other periodically through these mutual friends. And we met pre-Shaklee, and then when I started Shaklee, I immediately went to her, but she wasn't ready, so I had to wait a couple years. But she finally came around and started using Vitalizer, and after about 3 months, she got started in the business and recently became director.
And Jen, I just want to compliment you on that. Here you had someone who wasn't ready or told you that they weren't interested, and you still came back to them later, years later, and now she's a director. So no or not now or whatever doesn't mean you quit with somebody. You come back.
Exactly.
Nice.
It took me 17 years to get smart, so.
Go through a little bit your timeline for us.
Okay. So I became director. I was I did not do the full fast track, but I was a fast track director, so that was fun that first year. And then I helped Chris get to senior director. I think if I can give anyone advice at that beginning stage, for me, I wasn't sharing the business, and that really kind of slowed me down, I think, because I put all my eggs in one basket and wasn't sharing with other people. So, tip there.
All the wisdom. See, such wisdom. Very good.
Wisdom. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then I started sharing the business, and everything changed. And so that next year, I qualified for my car. We went to the New Directors Conference, which was absolutely the most amazing trip. I mean, I loved all these international trips, but I really met some of my best friends at New Directors Conference, and it truly just projected my business forward. So that was amazing. Then we went on the cruise that year, and that was also absolutely fabulous. I've traveled a lot with my family, and I've traveled a lot solo, but I never fully experienced a Shaklee trip until then. And when everyone says they're amazing, they truly are. And then that summer I went full-time Shaklee as well. So that was a big year. 2013 was a really big year. And June 7th, I quit my job, and I thought I would be executive coordinator right after that, but stayed at senior coordinator for a little bit. And then we went to Mexico, and again, an amazing trip, absolutely beautiful. Got to spend time with the lovely ladies on this call and a lot of other great people. And then in January, finally hit my big goal that I've had on my goal board for quite a while. And we're getting married in 36 days.
Oh, congratulations. That's wonderful. Excellent. So you developed a system. Everybody has to do that after you kind of learn the basics. So tell us a little bit how you develop your leaders.
Okay. I feel like the system's always evolving, but currently what we do is when someone signs on with the business, I try to meet either that day or within the first week of meeting them or getting them started and set up for what we call CEO University. And we kind of go through their goals and their why and what they need immediately and what time commitment they have and what time they're willing to put towards Shaklee, and see how that lines up with their goals. And we make a plan for the next week. We get all the upcoming events on their calendar and talk about getting them plugged in. And then I also hold weekly team meetings in person, and those are at my house. We have a webinar within our organization with the Seymour organization on Monday nights. And so people come over on Mondays after work. We make dinner together. We go through, we check in on our goals. We watch the webinar together, do any questions together after that. And it's just a great way to touch base and build that community and have that cross accountability.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So we just changed the name to Mexico Mondays now that the trip is Mexico and no longer Maui. And yeah, it's really fun. People really like it. And it's a good way to, like I said, build community and help cross accountable your team. So it's not everyone just coming to you all the time, but helping each other too.
Nice.
And then I just started a monthly training, and typically on Tuesday nights, we go through one or two of the 8 steps together, and we kind of get really nitty-gritty with it and talk through it, practice activities, and do a lot of hands-on kind of work time. So this week we did contact and invite, and we have a big event this Saturday with Dr. Jamie in town, so we really worked on following up and languaging and going through our list together, asking each other questions and working through that. And then I host 2 monthly meetings in my home. So I usually do a healthy happy hour, which covers the full Shaklee story and all the product lines. And then we also do a ladies' night in once a month. And I'm going to talk about that more in a little bit. But that's a really fun event. And then we have a great Denver area that has a lot of local events going on very regularly. We just had Groundswell, and we're continuing that. So I make sure that people have those events on their calendar to be able to invite to those.
Excellent. Good, and you have to have this kind of a development system in order to build to executive coordinator. Katie, let's hear a little bit about your story here.
All right, that was awesome, Jen. It's so exciting, and how ironic that we were on the beach dreaming of being executive coordinator back in December, and now we get to both speak together. It's really exciting, but I think that's part of where we're at, and that is to dream big and to really tell yourself that you can get there, because there are obstacles that come in your way, there are doubts that come in our head, but there's something powerful about collaborating with somebody that's around the same stage and has the same goals as you. But also, it was so nice to have Lisa and Barb as well to encourage us and to know and believe that we can get where they are one day. So I just think that's so important as a team to be working with one another. And like they said, at conferences, that's one of my favorite parts, is being able to go to conference and meet people and the connections. So when I started in Shaklee, it was fall of 2012, and I just loved the products, and I just began sharing them. And one thing that I did was I actually did a Basic H giveaway on my blog, and it was for the Basic H samples. And a lot of people wanted it, and I sent it out, and I followed up with people. And I think that's really key. If you're going to do samples, make sure that you follow up with people and make sure that you see how they're loving it, because it actually led to a distributor. One of my friends, Sarah, ended up loving the Basic H, and she began the business. And things really began, I would say, there, because all of a sudden my role transitioned into a coach and into a leader, because now I was trying to help somebody else build their business. And like Jen said, I think when I first started, it was scary to share the business. And you know what, I'll be honest, it still is scary to share the business to some degree. I feel more comfortable and confident, but it can be very scary. But I learned through three-way calls how to talk to people about the business. Because what I said to people about the business back then a couple years ago is a little bit different than what I say now to people. And I think the key is connecting with people. So when she fell in love with the Basic H, this was all through Facebook or email, and I said, when can we chat? And I've shared this in weeks before, and a friend of mine reminded me of this too yesterday, that as great as Facebook is and as great as these events are, nothing will ever replace a conversation that you have with people. Nothing will ever replace sitting down and having dinner. One of my leaders that I'll talk about today, Laura Googie, who broke out as director recently, she was interested in the business, and I said, let's go out to dinner. And it was, we both had kids, and I just knew this conversation was too important to pass up. So let's do something fun. Let's go out to eat. And you know what? We ended up talking for about an hour and a half before Shaklee even came up. And then Shaklee came up, and then the business came up. And that's happened with other people as well. In fact, that actually happened to Beth, who's one of the directors that's a mutual friend of Michelle and I. The same thing happened. So if somebody expresses an interest in the business, it's really important to connect with them on the phone or in person. There's always a joke that we share at conference that you can't ever text somebody the business. And, you know, we kind of laugh at that, but I really think that in our generation we do so much texting that it's really important to try and get that off of Facebook. And I would say really where I'm at today, the biggest glory I have to give to God for where I'm at, but also I have to say that a big part of it comes down to relationships, and it comes down to your connections with people. Because when people see your heart and they see that you care for them and they see that you believe in them, and when they see how passionate you are about your business and about the product, they can't help but want to jump on board. I mean, I saw that in Harper. I saw that she loved the business. I saw that she loved the products. I followed her on Facebook and could see her whole family loved it. And so how could I not want that? And so 6 months later, I was able to reach senior director, and helped develop a first level, which was really exciting. And then I was able to qualify for a car payment, which just came in handy because I think around that time, a little bit shortly after we got a car payment, I got pregnant and our family started expanding, so it was so nice to be able to get a bigger vehicle that we would not have been able to afford had it not been for our Shaklee car bonus. And so then as far as my story goes, then it really changed gears for me, and I really was looking to develop leaders, and not just develop leaders, but to develop strong legs. And so at that point, I was really wanting to go to Mexico, and I really began investing in my team. And I think that's so important that whenever we get a new distributor, like Jen said, they set up a meeting, and then they did webinars, and they connected them. When somebody's new, you're talking to them all the time, almost on a daily basis. And that takes time, and it's an investment. But it's an investment that will pay off for the rest of your Shaklee business. So remember that. When somebody's new, they really need your help, and they really need your guidance. So last March, I was able to develop my second leg, which was Michelle. And that was when I became, I went actually from coordinator to senior coordinator and began receiving infinity bonuses. And the exciting thing with that is as our family expanded and we were then starting to look into getting a bigger home, because right now we just have a smaller home and it's great for one kid, but we're outgrowing it. And so the exciting thing now is that I'm just days away from packing up our entire house and moving. And again, I have to credit Shaklee because we would not be in this position to move had it not been for our Shaklee business. And the great thing is that, you know, normally when people move or normally when people have babies, they have to stop working, and I didn't stop working. I continued to work. I continued to make calls. As the boxes were being packed and are still being packed, and right now I look around at my house and it's filled with boxes, but I'm still on the seminar. And it's because I think I've seen since day one that I have wanted to make this work, and I have wanted to be committed. And I think the next slide talks about some of my other legs that came about when I became executive coordinator last month. I was able to develop 2 more directors. Laura Gugi was able to break out as a director, and then Michelle had her first director too, which was really exciting, and we'll share a little bit of how that came. But what was really cool for Harper's my upline, by me going from senior coordinator to executive coordinator, her paycheck went up from $3,000 to $4,000 in 1 month.
Nice.
And Barb would always tell us, those infinity bonuses make a huge difference. And I would tell her, really, Barb, 1%, 2%? And she was so right. I was very good with the math. Because those infinity bonuses do make such a big difference. And when you reach coordinator, it's just amazing to see how your paycheck can go up as well.
Very good. So just so people get a picture that an executive coordinator is 3 first-generation directors and then 20,000 OV, which means you are building legs under each of these. Last month, when Katie became an executive coordinator, there were 2 new directors in her organization, so they're brand new, so that's bringing in 4,000 OV, right? Plus there were 10 throughout our organization, but some of them were under Katie. There were 10 new associates at 1,000 OV each. And so you understand as how you begin to build OV, that 20,000 OV, that's a lot of OV. But when you think in terms of duplicating yourself, then you begin to see your plan of how you get there. Good. Thanks, Katie.
And I think what's important, too, is Sarah Robbins in her book, she talks about the I do, you do, we do method. And I think at the beginning of my business, I was doing a lot of it, I do, in the sense that I wasn't making myself as duplicatable. And I think now I've shifted to really asking myself before I do something, am I training people to now do that on their own? Am I allowing them to be able to lead this in-home event if I'm not able to be present? Am I allowing them, if I lead this Facebook event, to then do a Facebook event the following week if I'm not able to be there? And I think that's what's really exciting in our business when we begin developing leaders and duplicating ourselves. So as you think through where my directors come from, it's funny, but they really come from a variety of relationships that I've had. Some of them have come from college. Some of them have come from elementary school. Some of them have come from work when I was a teacher. And so it's just important to realize that really directors can come from anywhere. Directors can come from your Facebook friends. Beth is one of my first levels, and she came through a mutual friend of ours, and that was through Facebook. And it could come through people that you meet socially. It can come through your relatives. It can come from in-home events. That was really what sold me in the business, was when I was able to go to an in-home event that Harper had. It can come from Facebook events. We've had people where we've done Facebook events, and then they've been interested in the business. And we've had people come from referrals or coworkers, friends. So it's just really exciting to see all the different ways that people can come and become directors.
Very good.
All right. So what was my plan? First of all, it was important to identify.
Little people.
Sorry. It's important to understand when you're identifying your business partners, who you think they may be. And really keep an open mind, because you just don't know the potential of who your next director could be. They could be a customer right now. They could be an associate right now. They could be somebody interested in the business right now. And then begin to get them on a good plan to get them started. So start each with a grand opening in person or on Facebook. This has been key. If they're local, I've always been able to do them in person. But if they're not local, then you can do a Facebook event with them. And then develop strong customers with each of them under those grand openings that you may do. So whether it's a Facebook event or an in-home event, help them to follow up and help them to have a good plan to develop strong customers. And then identify distributors under each builder to the director, so you aren't just appointing 3 directors, you are building 3 legs, which is really important. And then you repeat the process. So what can we learn from this? It's important.
Better have a plan.
Yes, and every month my plan changes, and every week and almost every day I have to check back at my plan because there's been some months where I'm thinking, okay, this isn't going so well. I need to change something up. I need to do an extra event. I need to call more people. Something needs to change. And so it's important to continually be evaluating that. And then follow the plan. Give your business leaders some time and thought, and let them go for it, and let them see how they can step up too and become a leader. And also make adjustments when necessary. Be flexible. There will be bumps in circumstances to think about, but it's important that we are flexible and that we never give up thinking that we can make it. Even this month, there could be people struggling and they're thinking, the month is closing next week. We still have plenty of time. There's still plenty of time in our month. And we still have plenty of time to accomplish the things that we need to accomplish. So commit time to the business. This has been really important to me, especially as a mom. Things just get really, really busy sometimes, and it can be hard sometimes to commit to the business. So one thing that I've done is I've set up a working folder, and I'll give you an example of that in the next couple of slides. But the working folder is really important because you want to know what you are working on. You want to set aside a calendar and have names and contact information, goals for the week and the month, and a 90-day plan, and activities to promote and invite people to, whether it's events. I've done a lot of three-way calls. I've done a lot of conference calls. Block the Shaklee time on your calendar. Get help. I think this has been really important and key for me is that I reached a point where I couldn't do it on my own. I needed help. And so I involved my husband in the business. And for him, I was talking to Moira about this. Our husbands can help in different ways. You know, if your husband's not actively a distributor or actively doing it beside you, they can help by watching the kids one night a week so that you could do a Facebook event. Or they can help with there's been many times where Sam's taken the kids to the park, and I've been able to just focus on working for an hour, and that hour of undistracted time has allowed me to do a lot when we set aside that time. And then the important thing, too, is to Shakleyize your home. That when you are building your business, it's important to know and to try the products. And you'll see a picture in a second here of what my upstairs medicine cabinet looks like. And it's all Shaklee, and that's because since the beginning, I slowly replaced all my products with Shaklee products. And I think that's important because if we're going to share about the sunscreen, if we're going to share about the baby lotion, if we're going to share about performance, we need to try it and we need to use it. And so I don't go to the store to buy my cleaners. I don't go to the store to buy hand soap. I don't go to the store to buy lotion. It's all Shaklee products. And the best thing is that they're better than anything you can get at the store as well.
Katie, I want to just make a comment on this whole thing on time. As I'm sitting here listening to you, and I know all that's gone on in your life in the last 2.5 years, you're a beautiful example of, you know, when people say, I don't have time, you could easily have said, I don't have time to go to executive coordinator right now. I'm having babies or buying and selling a house. It's never a time issue. It's always a priority issue.
Good point.
If Shaklee's, if we can, and even when we're working with people and they say, I don't think I have time, just remember, how do you help them see Shaklee as a priority? Because if it's a priority, people will find the time.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because I think sometimes people think that you have to devote a ton of hours to get to where I'm at. But what I've done is I just try and use my time wisely. So before, some of my time I realized was not income producing. I would spend time creating a really cute newsletter and a really cute different things that I realized, wow, it's so much better for me to be on the phone with somebody and to spend that 30 minutes on the phone with them.
Absolutely.
Or I would spend 45 minutes typing up an email to somebody when I could have picked up the phone and talked with them for 15 minutes. So life is busy. It's hard to sometimes fit Shaklee in. I told Barb last month, I said, Barb, I'm going to wait to be executive because I'm in the midst of a move. And she laughed at me, but you know what? I just continued to do it, and I continued to fit the business in as I could, but I had to set aside the time. The days that I don't set aside the time, I go to sit down and I look at my laundry and I look at the dishes and I look at all the other things I need to get done, and it doesn't get done. So this is an example of a working folder. This is an app that you can download on your phone. It's called Evernote, so EVERNOTE.
Evernote.
Evernote. And the nice thing with Evernote is that you can make different lists on there. So this would be thanks to Harper. Harper introduced us to Evernote. So one of my lists is a Shaklee follow-up list. This list is all for people that I need to follow up with. Another list can be your Shaklee to-do items, like I need to create a newsletter. I need to do a Facebook event. Another list can be your Shaklee reach out, people who have been interested in the products before and you need to reach out to them. So even just categorizing the different working folder. For me, I just use my phone a lot. I love paper and notebooks, and nothing can replace that. But if you're more of a phone person, download the app and write your names down. There have been times where I've forgotten about certain people, and, oh, that person was really interested in the 180, and then the month of February comes along and Shaklee's doing a 180 promotion. Well, now you know you can reach back out to those people. So it's important to have that working folder. And then this is just an example of blocking Shaklee time. So I got a planner. It's called the Simplified Planner. I really like it because it breaks down your days and what you're doing that day, what you need to do, your notes, and then it even has little sections for what you want for dinner. So you can see here, like today, for example, the webinar is highlighted. I'm obviously on a webinar right now. And then I have a play date, and then I have to pack. And then my to-do items are listed, who I need to call, and it just helps me to be organized because I was listening to a leadership podcast recently, and he said as a leader it's imperative that we're organized. And sometimes I'm not organized. Sometimes it's hard to be organized, but I have found that when I'm organized and I have a system and I know what to do when I sit down and I have my Shaklee time, that things go a lot easier for me.
And you know what I've learned, Katie, that unorganized people can learn to be organized. And that's just the truth because I have not a lick of it. But I have worked at it. And
living proof that.
That's right. So I love it. I love visuals there too. But I just want to encourage those of you out there that say, I'm not organized. That's okay because you're going to get organized. You just have to work at it. You have to be comments, right?
That's great.
So, Shaklee, I think your home. I was listening to a speaker at Shaklee recently share how, she would go to people's homes before and she would see a different type of soap that was on their counter. And, it's little things like that you can replace your soap. And you know what? It's also great advertising. I keep a jar of my meal bars and snack bars out. I keep my vitamins on the counter. Shaklee's all around our house. So I keep the spray bottles out, the all-purpose spray bottle out, the dish soap you can have out, and people can see that too when they come over and they can ask you about it. So setting goals and making a plan. After you learn the skills of inviting people and approaching people, of presenting and having conversations about products, learn where the resources are to send people to when they are evaluating the business, how to sponsor and get new customers and new distributors. Then it's time to put it all together into your business system. Include how you will meet new people on a regular basis and spend time in the income-producing activities, like I talked about, that sometimes we get really busy doing the quote-unquote busy work, and we're not focused enough on the income-producing activity. If you're wondering if it's an income-producing activity, ask yourself, will this lead to something that will be worth my time? So almost all the time when you pick up the phone, it will. Almost all the time when you dedicate to doing an in-home event or meeting with somebody, it will. So those are the type of income-producing activities.
Very good.
And then this is just a picture of my goal board, and this is so exciting because a lot of these goals I put up years ago when I first started in the business. There's that picture of that house there, or that kitchen, and it was just reminding me of that our family wanted to be able to move one day, and it's just exciting to see how we are in the midst of moving and in the midst of packing up, and a lot of those goals I've had in front of me. I've had on my refrigerator. I've had Rebecca, I think, was sharing that she puts all of her working folder on a whiteboard, and she puts it in her office, and then she sees every day the names of those people she needs to call. And she also sees pictures of where you want to go. Get some Cabo pictures, get some Italy pictures, put them up there. Get a picture of a car, put it up there. And so when you walk by and you're tempted to maybe want to do something that isn't worth your time, you think, oh, this will be worth my time, and I will develop, I will be focusing on Shaklee, perhaps instead of watching TV or different things that can distract us from the business.
I love that picture.
Very good. All right, you want me to do this one, Barb?
Go.
I see my name.
Yep. Yes, I did. I
You're
thought
Lisa.
Yes,
That's great. Yay. Well, I'll tell you what, both of these girls have done such a beautiful job already showing and giving examples of this. But it's really important that you train yourselves and you develop an eye of looking for possibilities. And so, and again, you've heard great examples of this through the processes that they do. I love this term. I've been hearing it a lot lately, possibilities mindset. And I think it was Becky Choate that shared the other day that Barb says abundance thinking, not limited thinking. Well, this kind of goes into this. So you want to train your brain and train your mind to look for people that are going to be great business builders. So start by looking at these two tasks, okay? In developing your strong, stable businesses, you know you're going to develop a customer base. We need to. It's important. So we're going to share the products. We're sharing what they do for people. That's part of what we do. The second part is to assemble your business team. So you're going to create a little eagle eye of looking for those people and then creating some comfortable language to open doors, right? And so that's really the identification. How do I assemble my team? How do I find people? I love that list that Katie had of all the different places that builders can come from. And Jen talked about it too, childhood friends and friends here and that. So keep your eye open because you never know where your next person will come from, and have that open mind. And then the process is really a duplication process. And so you're going to look to identify people to join your team, and then you're going to have a plan. I love it. These girls both are very clear. What do they do when someone wants to start a business? They both know exactly what they're going to do.
That's right.
That is a big key. That is a big key. That's why they're at an executive coordinator, because they know what to do. Okay, so it's sometimes, I think, even if someone has been through the process themselves, it's hard to conceptualize, but how do I start someone? What am I going to do? You have to work it out. Create your process, create your system. And then invest your time and your effort. Stay close. Boy, Jen has this beautiful little culture building thing. You can tell with the projects she has. They got such a community because they get together, they eat together, they cook together, they learn together, they dream together, right? So stay close to your leaders. Invest time. It's not just a point and shoot type of thing. Sign them up and send them on their way, right? We stick with them. And then look at this. Put yourself in their shoes. And so you really do want to I always love the saying, in the beginning especially, we're going to build your business together. We're going to lay the foundation of your business, and you're going to learn and grow all at the same time. And so it's a part of that kind of walking beside them in the beginning and then letting them fly. And then, of course, the result is the residual income. And an income at an executive coordinator level is a good income. And that is the reward for figuring this stuff out and for creating that system of duplication and learning how to talk to people about the business, right? So, all right.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, so our business development has 4 key components. The first key component that we've talked about is a way to meet new people. If you're struggling to meet new people, just get out and about. Go to the park, go to the library, story time, sign up for a local book club or group, get connected with different avenues. Have in-home events, offer people rewards for referrals, host Facebook events, establish a relationship and offer good service. This is really important to have good customer care, as Lisa calls it. So that would look like following up with people, calling them to check in to see, hey, do you have any questions? How are you loving the product? Are you aware that there's lots of different ways you can use our protein? Can I send you some smoothie recipes and peanut butter bulb recipes? People want to know that when they buy a product, there's lots of things they can use it for. For example, somebody buys a multi-purpose. I give them a document that says all the uses of multi-purpose and a sheet of all the ways that they can use the multi-purpose or the basic H. Introduce members to all aspects of Shaklee. And I think this has been key. As I've grown my business, I've always let other people know that there is a way that they can earn their products for free. Because what happens is people try the products, they love them, and they want it all a lot of times, which is a good problem to have. So to help them, make sure that you're sharing the business with them about how they can earn their products free and they can earn some extra income at home. And then train your business partners. And here's the thing that's important with that. I don't know all the answers. In fact, probably 80% of the time, I'm looking for the answer. So I get a lot of questions that I don't always know. And the important thing with that as a leader is just follow up with that. We're not expected to know everything. I don't know everything there is to know about all of our products and about how to follow up with people and in the business side of things. It's just that I will go and I will find the answer, and I will go and I will seek out that answer, and I will get back to people on that. So just remember that, because sometimes I hear people say things like, oh, but I don't think I can do this, or I don't know, and I think it's important then to realize, yes, you can, and we'll find the answer, and we'll do this together.
Very good.
So, Jen, you have learned some things also from your journey to executive coordinator. Would you like to share just a few of your thoughts about that?
Sure. Yeah, it is a journey, and it was a 4-year journey for me. And I think one of the big things is don't let your frustrations affect your activity level. It's so easy to do, and I know I go through that too. And so even though you get frustrated and things don't seem like they're happening just yet, when you stay consistent and you keep going, that's when things do happen. So just keep going. I think of the Energizer Bunny sometimes. I'm like, just keep going. Or Finding Nemo, just keep swimming. It will come. And that's really helped me. Having a driving force, I think, really helps. I think having a why is great, but I think sometimes those can be fluffy. And for me, I have a why, but that doesn't necessarily drive me to do what I need to do all the time. It's bigger than that. And so having something concrete. So for my first goal was to leave my job. That was a driving force and a very strong why at the time. So after a long day at work, it was not hard to come in and do Shaklee because I knew if I didn't do it, I would be there another day longer. So that was a definite driving force. And then I quit my job, and I just kind of, I kept working, and I enjoyed the time freedom as I should, and life happened too in the middle of that, just like it does for everybody. And I was still growing. I just wasn't growing at the rate that I thought I was. And then we made some big life choices in this fall, and Stefan quit his job and is starting his own company, or is in the middle of that. And so we went down to one income. And so that kind of got my butt in gear of hustling again, because this was it now. And so we needed to, I needed to step up and carry some weight now. So that has definitely helped in terms of driving. We need to pay our mortgage, so I need to make some calls today. Keep sharing the business. I know I touched on this earlier, but always share the business, even if it's hard at the beginning. It's just do it. I waited, and like I said, until I started sharing the business, that's when my business changed. And so if you're not comfortable yet, partner with somebody. Use the videos. Lisa has a great video on Shaklee TV you can use. There's so many tools out there to help you to share the business, and there's so many people out there willing to help you and support you that there's no reason why you shouldn't. Working with people who want to work. I was telling Joe this earlier, I'm a tough love kind of person, and so I am happy to work with you if you're willing to work. And I will support you, and if you're not going to work, that's cool. We'll still be friends, but I'm not going to carry you to director or to your goal. That's up to you. So
there's more wisdom. That's very wise. Very wise. Good job. Keep going.
So, yeah, work with people who are willing to work. And it's great if they say they're willing to work, but that is only half of it. If they're not doing the work, then
Mm-hmm.
then you need to evaluate if your time is worth being spent investing into this one person. Because one person isn't going to get you there. It's creating a team that's going to get you there. Keep prospecting. Be an example. I am always inviting to events, and when we do our check-ins, I'm telling people who I'm inviting and who I'm following up with. And so people see that I'm still working every day, and I'm still doing the same activities that they're doing. It's once they learn it, it's the same over and over. And so continue to be that example. Don't expect just because you get there that your team's just going to carry you the rest of the way. It's your job to also keep growing and keep building your business and keep learning. Be persistent. Like I said, I thought I was going to be an executive coordinator much sooner after quitting my job because I was able to put a lot more time towards my business than I was. But again, life happened, and I got a whole lot of no's in a short period of time, or in a long period of time, and that was okay. But just keep going; it will come, and it has been a journey, and I'm thankful for it. Working with people is always an adventure. I mean, we've had a few reversions on our team. It wasn't like these are the first 3 people we worked with, and they became director and senior coordinator and all those things. There's a lot that happens in between. Starting and becoming an executive coordinator. Not everyone's going to stick. Everyone needs to be supported differently, and I think having that conversation up front makes a huge difference in saying, how do you want to be supported? What do you do when you get frustrated? I have one girl that wants me to check in with her every day. I have other people that just want to periodically check in. And so it's finding out what best supports them. Some people really like more touchy-feely approach and a lot of encouragement and things like that, which is not natural to me, so I have to make note of that. But then I have other people that really want tough love, which is also kind of awkward because I don't feel like I'm in corporate America. But finding out, but they're like, tell me this, and like that'll make me work harder. And I'm like, okay, you told me to tell you this. If it upsets you, but it's setting those standards up ahead of time, and I think that can really help your team grow and help you better support people. And it's a growing experience for you. Learn about their goals and what they want and work from that. Everyone has different goals. I have people that want to quit their job, which is a huge passion of mine, so I get really excited about that. I have other people that love their job and want to be making that extra money to use towards other things. I have one girl who loves concerts and wants to use that money to go to concerts. So
fun.
that is her driving force, and that's awesome. And so you have to find out what they want, what their time commitment is.
That is so true. Our why can't be other people's why, Jen, walk us through briefly here. The Girls' Night In is one of the events that you will do in your home, and your whole team participates in this. And it can be, for all of us, a great activity for the month of May with an emphasis on moms. So,
and we might mention here too, Joe, that next week, our final session for the spring, we're going to be focusing on marketing strategies for May, and each one designed to generate 1,000 PV. So, but while we had Jen here, we wanted to capture this great idea that she has her Girls' Night In.
It is so fun. I love these events. So what we do is we call it Girls' Night In. It's one night a month, and what we do is we just invite girlfriends over. We have champagne and chocolate and other snacks and beverages, and we have the table set up. I thought I had pictures, so I wish I could have showed you all, but I have a big dining room table, and we have little individual mirrors from Walmart. They're like $2 or whatever, and we put both InfuCell kits on the table, and then all of the other InfuCell products that are in the kit. So the Acne Complex, Calming Complex, the mask, all those things on the table. Everyone gets an individual bowl with hot water and 2 little washcloths and little chocolates on top.
Oh, cute.
So what we do is we bring people in. The first half hour is social. Everyone has so many, we're a diverse group of people, and so everyone brings new people every time, and it's just really cool that first half hour for everyone to meet each other, network within themselves. I think every girls' night we've had in the last 4 months, everyone's gotten everyone else's number, which has been really cool. Just because they want to hang out and they've met new people, which is fun. After the half hour of social, everyone sits down and we go through each product individually. So we start with the cleanser, we talk about the cleanser, everyone washes their face, and we go through each product and people just pass it around. It's social, they enjoy it. We don't say you have to wash your whole face. If you want to use your hand, we can. We always offer that, but pretty much everyone always does. We also, at the beginning, we also have music going. There's dancing. We tell everyone to come in their pajamas or sweats or whatever, which people love, and I love as a host. And so it's just nice and casual, and it kind of like gets you in the mood to like be comfortable and be around a bunch of girl time. That girl time.
I love it.
And then at the end, we wrap up. People keep eating. They generally keep drinking and dancing. And we have sample gift bags for people who order that night. And we have 3 options that we propose. So here's the whole skincare system that we have on.
There they are.
And here they are. Here are the options. So we have kind of different price points for people. People that are already members generally start with the essentials or the starter system usually, because they're slowly Shakleizing. But when we have a brand new person, we really encourage the kit because it does come with a free membership and we offer free shipping. But no matter what they order, they get a little sample gift tag with all other Shaklee samples, which is really kind of helps them, brings up the conversation of the other Shaklee products and lets them experience them.
Great. And we can attach this to the recap email so people would have this to refer back to. And these are the kits you were talking about, Barb, that we're going to go into more detail next week on how to generate, 1,000, 2,000 PV, and doing one way you can do it is through Infocell.
But I love, see, when we used to do this, Joe and I, we would have facials, we'd invite people over for facials. The young girls, they invite them over for a chocolate spa. For a pajama party. I mean, it's like, I love it. It's just a new twist on it. Makes it fun. I never served wine. What was I thinking? I never. Oh, boy. Okay.
That's because you're a beer girl.
Yeah, right. I always thought that tasted like soap. Anyway, Lisa, we have an idea for people to help them get on the road to executive coordinator, to build around the Monday night sessions we do the last Monday of every month called The Power of Our Profession. So I want to share that idea with them.
Yes, and this is the first point in our action steps, but really they're quite phenomenal, these Power of Profession webinars. And so we have several archived at the Better Future Starts Today site, and you'll find one for nurses and stay-at-home moms, and we've got one coming up on next Monday for empty nesters. And so it's a great idea for you to even sit down and get creative and say, who can I talk to? Who can I think of that would fit in this? And just say, I thought of you. I've got invited to this webinar on Monday, and I'm really excited about it, and I thought you might want to come too. And so I actually love this idea that Jen has. What if you invited four ladies over to come and watch the webinar with you? That could be kind of fun. You could have chocolate. That would be even better, right? So I just love this idea. So utilize those, and then utilize the archive ones too. I think it's just a great door opener and conversation starter because it's specific to that person and their life and where they're at. So very good. So you can make a list of women invite them. There's some word tracks that we're going to offer on the next slide. And you can see some of the archives here. And then this is, I think, probably the most exciting thing. And, I think we saw this work for last summer as well. But if you set a goal right now, between now and June, to start identifying people that would want to take a look at the business so that you can start them right into the summer school training, which is 8 weeks to director, right? So utilize this little space of time. And I even remember last year talking to people saying, you know what, we're starting this great series, and I don't know if you've ever thought about Shaklee, but boy, is it a good time to start a business because this training is so good, right? It's just a great way. So you can tie all that into the Monday night Power Professional webinars as well, but it's just don't let the season pass and then you're halfway through June and you're thinking, oh man, I wanted people to join me with that, right?
Yep.
So here's some do you want me to do this one, or did William?
Well, I'll just attach these to the recap email that I'll send out later today.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'll just give you that. These just came from, actually, we did a session in the fall. It was session 7, Becky reminded me of, where we talked about reaching out into this community of parents and women in particular whose children now are moving on and leaving the home. And there's some really nice ideas in there. So we captured this slide, and then we also created a word track, I think, on the next, there we go, about just how you can open a conversation using all the skills that we've talked about that, you know, connect us to people, to say, tell me about what's happening at your house now that your last child is graduating from high school.
Yeah.
And just find out what people are thinking. And they may need to, they may have a lot of emotion around that. They may be happy. They may not have thought about it at all. And then it's just such a great time. You know, Jen, you said something very interesting today about sharing the business. And if there's one thing that has really come home to me, especially in the last probably 5-8 years, it's that it is a very interesting topic for most people to talk about home businesses, to talk about financial safety nets and backup plans, and to talk about finances. It's an interesting topic for young families, for baby boomer who are maybe, you know, 10, 15 years out from retirement and not really ready for that financially. But it's an interesting topic. And so bringing that up is not a pitch. It's a tell me about conversation. It's what are you all thinking about that? It's that kind of a conversation. And it's amazing what comes out of that, because what Katie was saying about it is within conversation that ideas emerge, that options emerge. And, you know, I know for people in my age group, a very popular topic of discussion is, so what are you thinking about doing with your house now that the kids are grown and your grandkids are grown? And, like, what are you thinking about for the next 10 years? For you, what are you thinking? And it's something people really want to talk about. So I encourage you to have those conversations now. It's a great time of year, and especially with teachers. This is, you know, their year is drawing to a close, and it may be a time when they're thinking about some options. So all of that.
Well, and can I just jump in on that, Barb? Because, you know, I mean, as far as understanding the mindset of women whose children are moving on, I promise you, they want to talk about it.
Yes.
They want to. So I just wanted to throw that in. They're looking for someone to brainstorm with them about what's next, because that's a big deal. What is next? Their life is changing. I mean, I'm totally speaking from my heart right now, but their life is changing in a massive way. And if they don't have something in place, I guarantee you there's a little bit of panic going on about, what am I going to do? What am I about? Why am I here? And so not to necessarily jump in there and say, I've got an idea for you, but let them talk about it. So I'm sorry, Barb, for interrupting you.
No, you didn't. That was excellent. Joe, you got some questions coming in?
Yes, we do. Let's see. People are wondering how to get on the recap email. If you send me an email, I will add you to the list. And my email is last name Coogan, COOGANJM as in mother, 3525 at gmail.com.
Joe, Mike. But you know what? All of the recap and the attachments are all at bobsfiles.net. So it's all.
Sometimes Chris doesn't get them up, the Thursday ones, until like the following Monday. So if we want people to use this word track this weekend.
Oh, they'll need it faster. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just thank you for the training. How do we get on the recap?
I love Linda Bennett. She says, I have to say, finally, someone wants to talk to me, an empty nester. Oh, that's beautiful. Everything in life seems clear to young moms, which is who I want to recruit too, but there is a lot of life left in me and having some meaning in my life. Exactly. You know, I don't think it's just that there's attention given to young moms. It's just for most of us, that's when we started. And so it is so important to so many moms who want to be home with their kids, and there's so few options for them to do that. So that's why I think home businesses are so ideal. But I totally, that's why we're looking at this group, because I think of the wisdom that a woman has developed after raising kids. Oh my gosh, you're ready for anything.
Got some good skills. It's really
you're organized. You've done you've done conflict resolution. I mean, you know it all. Very good. Thanks, Linda. That's a great point you made. And then Suzanne just talked about the importance of now coordinators can attend the Future Masters event the day before the global conference starts, and she just said how valuable that is. So wonderful. And you know, Joe, what we might do is flip to the first couple of slides for people who join us late so that they can see that information about Cleveland and these wonderful speakers we have coming. And, you know, we actually start our sessions about 10 to the hour. So there's a lot
it's not just frivolous talk. Many times we...
Not just that.
We have a little of that.
That's for you to judge, I suppose. Okay. All right, so we get everything. How long do we
I just want to say a special thank you to Jen and Katie for sharing your journey with us, because it really is inspiring, and there's so much wisdom and understanding there, and I just know so many people are going to really be able to benefit from today. So I thank you guys.
Thank you. Yes.
Awesome.
They did a terrific job.
I did. When I'm preparing for this conference this weekend, and I did an analysis, Joe, of residual income from just this last bonus check, and the check was $15,500, and of that, $4,400 came from customers.
Sure.
11,100 came from leadership bonus.
Yep.
That's why, to pick up on Jen, that's why you want to spend your time, build your organization for your residual income. Good. Thanks, everybody. We'll see our last sessions next week. So we'll see you all on Monday night. Invite those empty nesters Linda was talking about on Monday night, Life After Kids, and join Becky Choate has some wonderful material she's going to share with us for that. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.